Petite's Great Feats. 5 Tiny Tales. Petite competes. "What a splendificent autumn day it's going to be," said Miss Featherbon. The blue hummingbird fairy grabbed a satchel, flitted out of the paw-lace, and swooped over Whisker Haven village, a cosy town full of shops and homes of the Critizens. "It's time for a seasonal celebration," she called out, turning her satchel upside down and letting flyers fall out. Whisker Haven village was decorated with leafy wreaths, pine cones, pumpkins and scarecrows, along with a dozen hay-filled wooden carts with colourful wheels. Everyone crowded into the streets, including palace pets like Petite, the yellow pony with pink tail and mane, Taj, the blue elephant with bright brown eyes, Gleam, the fawn with fluffy pink tail, Sultan, the tiger with white belly, and Treasure, the orange-red kitten with sparkling blue eyes. "Nice," said Petite, catching a flyer. "Miss Featherbon is sending us airmail." "These look like Rawsome party invitations," said Sultan. "What do they say?" asked Treasure. Petite pushed up her glasses and read, "Today is the first ever Whisker Haven Buddies Day." Everyone cheered. "It says that today there will be a Buddies Day parade. It will be kicked off by 2 palace pets on a buddies team who get to share the kick-off crown," Petite said. "Toot!" said Taj, waving his trunk. "But how will we choose which buddies team kicks off the parade?" asked Gleam. Petite kept reading. "The buddies team who first makes its way through a hay bale maze gets to kick off the parade. After the team kicks a lever, glitter bits will shower down on hay rides, making the move through Whisker Haven village in the Buddies Day Parade," she exclaimed. "That's wonderful," said Taj. "How exciting," said Gleam. "It also says we should meet Miss Featherbon down the road now," said Petite. "Let's go." Everyone ran down the street, kicking up a cloud of dust. As they ran, Petite took out her book on the hay bale mazes. They reached a wide part of the road that was blocked by the hay bale maze, with scarecrows decorating the entrance. Petite looked around, but didn't see Miss Featherbon. She took a seat in front of one of the scarecrows and opened her book, reading about how to navigate such tricky mazes. Niall, the little monkey, rolled in on a pumpkin. "Woo, yay, check me out," he said. "Rawsome," said Sultan. "Meowser," said Treasure. "Nice," said Gleam. Suddenly Niall slipped off the pumpkin and flew into the air. "Woo, whoops, ow," he collapsed on the ground. "Oh no," said Taj. He, Sultan, Treasure and Gleam gasped and ran over to Niall. Petite hadn't noticed and kept reading. "You okay there, Niall?" asked Sultan. Niall suddenly popped up laughing. "Ha! Gotcha!" Taj, Sultan, Treasure and Gleam looked annoyed. Niall scampered off and ran over to Petite. "What you reading?" he asked her. Petite didn't look up from her book. She said, "How to navigate a hay bale maze." Then Petite turned around to see the scarecrow was talking to her. "Oh!" she shouted. Niall popped up from behind it. "Gotcha!" Petite narrowed her eyes and shook her head at him. Just then Miss Featherbon flew in, wearing a huge smile. "Welcome to Whisker Haven Buddies Day," said Miss Featherbon. "I've set up a humdinger of a hay bale maze and paired up Buddies' teams, which are posted on that scarecrow." She pointed at it with her wing. The pets stampeded over to the scarecrow. Every tail wagged as they read from the list. Taj turned to Sultan. "You're with me, Buddy," he said. Treasure spun around to face Gleam. "We're a pair of explorers, Gleam," she said. Niall looked at the list, smiled and turned to Petite. "You'll never guess who my buddy is," he said. Petite looked at him, then around at the others and back at him. "I'm guessing, me," she said. Taj, Sultan, Treasure and Gleam cringed. Niall grinned and nodded. "You'll be perfect partners, Petite," said Sultan. Miss Featherbon perched on a scarecrow. "Whisker Haven Buddies. Each team must work together, and the first team to reach the finish line wins," she said. "Are you ready?" The crowd cheered. "Let the race begin," said Miss Featherbon, blowing her whistle. Taj and Sultan went in one direction, and Treasure and Gleam went the other. Niall jumped up and down, giggling. Petite looked at her book. "According to my book," she said, "we must choose our direction wisely and remember where we've been." "Or we could just run," said Niall, laughing. He took off, leaving Petite in the dust. Petite frowned. "Guess I'll have to do this without a buddy," she said to herself. Meanwhile, in the maze, Niall sprinted forward, zipping around the corners and going this way and that. He laughed and said to himself, "I am totally finishing first." He passed Taj and Sultan and he came to a dead end. "Huh?" said Niall. He turned around and zipped some more, this time passing Treasure and Gleam. He hit another dead end. "Wait a minute," he said. He zipped some more and faced yet another dead end. "Guess I should have stuck with my buddy," he said with a frown. Meanwhile, in another part of the maze, Petite walked forward, referencing her book. "My book states to carefully consider each turn," she said to herself. "I'm doing so. In doing so, I will come to..." Petite reached the end of the maze. The finish line was in front of her. The ribbon to run across had not yet been knocked down. "The end," Petite said. She took a few steps towards the finish line. "Niall isn't here," she said. "And my book also says the most important maze rule is never leave a buddy behind." Her eyes lit up. "My book is right. I need to find Niall so we can get through the maze together," she said. Petite traced back to a dead end in the maze and found Niall there looking very sad. "Gotcha," Petite said. Niall jumped up and hugged Petite. "Petite," he said, "I'm so happy to see you. I'm so sorry I just ran off." "Thanks," said Petite. "How about we work together to get out of this maze, buddy?" Niall stuck out his hand. Petite put in her hoof. "Hearts, hooves, paws," they said. They headed back the way Petite came. "This way, Niall," Petite said. They turned down a path and stopped. The path forked off in a few directions. "Now, this way," said Petite. They turned again. Petite looked confused. "Oh no," she said. "I was sure this was right." Niall looked around. "Actually," he said, "I think it's this way." They turned and travelled down a different path. "And now this way," said Niall. Petite's eyes lit up. "Great job, Niall. Come on," she said. Petite and Niall worked together to get through the maze. They took off running and turned corner after corner together. They turned a final corner and got to the end of the maze. Outside the maze, Sultan, Taj, Treasure and Gleam were all waiting for them with Miss Featherbon. "Splendificent," said Miss Featherbon. "You made it." "And next time we're going to win, because Petite's buddy won't be monkeying around," said Niall. He wiggled around and everyone laughed. "Marvellous work," said Miss Featherbon. "Well, I'm proud to announce that our winning buddies team is Treasure and Gleam," said Miss Featherbon. "Congratulations," cheered the pets. Everyone clapped their paws and hoofs together. "Here is the kick-off crown," said Miss Featherbon, handing the crown to Treasure and Gleam. "Now, let's shake a tail feather and kick off the Buddies' Day Parade. It's going to be simply splendificent." "Petite," said Treasure, "you and Niall can take the kick-off crown since you work so well together." "Yeah," said Gleam, "we're really proud of you for being such a great buddies team." "How nice," said Petite. "This is great," said Niall. Treasure and Gleam gave the kick-off crown to Petite and Niall. "Now, let's start that parade," said Miss Featherbon, flying across the street towards the hayrides. "Right this way, my dearies." "But who's going to wear the crown?" asked Taj. "Petite, you should wear it and do the kicking off," said Niall. "You're such a great buddy." He put the kick-off crown on Petite's head. "Thank you," said Petite, smiling, "so we can do the kick-off together."